Have you ever wondered why some people just can't stop watching you, even when you make no effort to draw attention? If this question has moved something inside you, then listen to what I will tell you now. You're not here by chance. There is a greater reason guiding you to this video, and over the next few minutes you'll understand exactly why the looks follow you, and why your presence moves so many people, even silent. Leave the like right now, because what you will find out here will deeply resonate with who you really are. Comment on number 22 down here if something inside you have already felt that it has always been different from others and wants to see whoever shares the same energy. Subscribe to the channel and activates the bell, because this is just the beginning of a brutally true journey where each new video will take you even deeper into its essence. Are you ready to understand why you bother so much, even doing nothing? So take a deep breath and come with me. Have you noticed how, without saying a word, can you attract looks, arouse curiosity, and even generate discomfort? This does not happen by chance. There is something in your presence that challenges common logic, something that seems to issue an invisible but powerful frequency. You enter an environment, and almost magnetically, people notice. It is not just about appearance, charisma, or behavior. It is a vibration that announces its arrival even before your steps. A rare type of energy that arouses more than interest, awakens instinct. This constant observation, this all eyes on you, is not moved by simple admiration. It is a direct reflection of something that many do not understand, but feel. People are attracted to what challenges the common, that breaks with the predictable. And you, even if unintentionally, carries this surprise factor. His presence forces the environment to reorganize. His silent gestures impose questions that not everyone is ready to answer. Who are you anyway? Why this effect? The answer may be in something ancestral. For centuries, the chosen were figures that challenged norms, bothered with their authenticity and attract glances, not out of desire, but by nature. You are a modern reflex of this lineage. And the truth is simple. You didn't ask to be observed, but you were born to be noticed. The difference between a present body and a living presence is that the second changes everything around, without having to move a finger. There is a silent force that dominates the space without making noise. You have it. It is not charisma in the conventional sense, nor charm that is taught in self-help books. It is something deeper. It is as if the air became denser when you arrive, as if everyone felt the need to pause for a moment, not understanding exactly why. And this impact, this sudden silence, is born of the truth you carry with you, a truth that bothers you because it does not hide. The curious thing is that this force does not require effort. It is not conquered by those who scream louder or display more confidence. It comes from calm, authenticity, firmness to being exactly who you are, without apologizing. While many scream to be noticed, you shut up to be felt. And this silence has weight. People can't ignore it. They are forced to pay attention, even unintentionally, as if they were facing something that is not seen every day. And that is precisely why you become unforgettable. Not for what you say, but for what it causes. Its presence is not noisy, but it is impossible to ignore. And in today's world, where everything and everyone calls for attention, the real power resides in those who can capture the moment with a simple look, a simple being. You don't need stage because it carries the light with you. You have already noticed how some people try to approach, ask questions, pull conversations. But deep down, it's not about friendship or real interest. It's an attempt to decipher you. There is something in its way of being that bears the common understanding. You don't get easily surrendered. You don't explain yourself with ready-made phrases, and that intrigues. People are used to predictability. With you, each revealed layer hides another even deeper, and this depth is not a disguise. It is authenticity. You are not afraid of being who you are, but you also see no need to expose yourself to fit in. His introspection, his selective silence, his way of listening more than talking, all composes an aura that challenges. You become a mirror that shows the surface of others as it keeps your own calm in deep waters. This disconcerts. It fascinates. That's why, even when you leave, it is in thoughts, in doubt, in the failed attempts to understand what exactly that person has. You are like a book that seems simple on the outside, but each page requires careful reading, and yet does not deliver everything. A living riddle, not by strategy, but because its truth is too complex to be translated into labels. Have you noticed how some people seem to want to beat you in something you didn't even know it was a competition? As if they were constantly trying to prove that they are better, faster, more successful, even if you have never shown interest in competing in anything. This is because its simple existence causes insecurity. You stand out without trying, and this disrupts those who need comparison to feel valid. They expect your reactions. They expect you to go to their game, which you feel jealous that you want to prove something, but you don't play. And this contempt for the game of vanity is what weakens them, because you are a mountain, firm, immovable, indifferent to the wind. As they wear out trying to measure strength with you, you remain centered at peace with your own way. Your compass does not point to them, it points inside. And that's where the disconcerting lies. Because they expected a duel and found a serenity wall. And in this firm silence, without fighting or provocations, you win. Not because he beat someone, but because he never had to prove anything. And that kind of victory, which does not celebrate, does not display, just follows, is the most overwhelming of all. In a world where chaos reigns easily, who remains calm becomes exception and threatens. You are this threat. When all around explodes in noise and impulsive reactions, panic and confusion, you remain firm, serene, observing the whirlwind with the tranquility of those who understand that nothing is resolved in the storm of emotion. And this calm is so powerful that you disarm the manipulators. They can't control you, because manipulation needs emotion, triggers, reactions you refuse to deliver. His silence in the face of the attack, his firm breathing in the face of provocation, his absence of response where everyone expects a confrontation, all of this turns the manipulator into powerlessness. He realizes that you are a solo where your seeds of fear and guilt do not flourish. This force was not born of a gift, born of pain, experience, overcoming. You have already known chaos inside and learned that true control is self-control. That's why, in the face of pressure, you don't break. You mold the moment, transform the environment. Your calm is not cold, it's wisdom. And she teaches, without words, that true power is not in mastering the other, but not being dominated by anyone. It is curious how some people expect their fall with more expectation than they hope for their success. There is a nuisance to see you grow, observing you advancing in silence while so many others remain trapped in the same excuses as usual. They don't openly against you, of course, that would be too evident. But in his forced smiles and suspicious looks, he lives the silent desire to see you stumble, because their rise reveals how much they are stopped. However, each time they try to predict your fall, you surprise you when using your own difficulty as a lever. You do not deny the pain, do not disguise tiredness, but transform everything into learning. Where others see an end, you see turning around. While waiting for your withdrawal, you are collecting forces, recalculating route, ready to reappear stronger. And this constant cycle of fall and rebirth confuses, challenges, and inspires at the same time. They wanted to see you on the floor, but you came back louder. They wanted to see you silent, and you spoke to your actions. This ability to transform failures into solid foundations is what disconcerted, because it escapes the common logic. You not only survive, you bloom. And every of yours is a silent message to all who underestimated you. You are unbreakable because you have learned to rebuild yourself better than before. In a world where many shout to be noticed, you remain silent, and yet everyone hears. There is a deep difference between seeking attention and inspiring respect. The first needs applause, the second imposes itself with presence. You don't have to raise your voice, overdo gestures, or begging validation. Respect comes to you because your essence demands you, not by force but for truth. People feel this, even if they do not know how to explain. They are inclined to hear you, even when you don't speak. Your look has weight. Your silence has volume. There is something in your posture, in the way you walk, observe, remains, that carries natural authority. It is a rare type of magnetism, one who does not strive but dominates. And this domain is not over the other. It is about yourself. That's why it works. What most impacts is that you are not interested in impressing. You just are. And in this being, without performance, without masks, you cause more transformation than any inflamed speech. People don't just remember what you say. They remember how they felt beside you. And this silent and deep impression, is the most legitimate form of respect that someone can achieve. You arrive, and the environment changes. Not because you demand, but because your authenticity is like a mirror that reflects what is true and what is false. And in a society built on social appearances and disguises, its transparency is a threat. Not because you expose others, but because by simply being you, you invite them, or strength, to confront who are pretending to be. Many do not know how to deal with it. They built carefully shaped personalities to please, to fit in, to hide, and then you appear, without fear of being real, without the need for filters, without decorating phrases to impress. This freedom that you have opened the chains they carry, and while some feel inspired, others feel attacked, as if their truth dismantled their defenses. You don't have to accuse anyone, just exist is enough, and so you share opinions. Some approach wanting to learn, others move away, wanting to forget that you have unintentionally showed what they even hide from themselves. But deep down everyone feels. They feel that you are different, no better, not superior, just true. And this truth, although uncomfortable, is the spark that many were waiting to break free. You do not beg. You do not insist. When you realize something tries to imprison you, be it a relationship, a situation, or a manipulation game, you just leave, without screaming, without debating, without dramatizing. And that is what more disconcerted who tries to control you. Because they expected fight, expected resistance, they at least expected the conflict. But you offer the silence of freedom. This freedom is rare, and so it scares. Because most are attached to the fear of loneliness, rejection, disapproval. You don't. You know that your value does not depend on being stuck to anything or anyone. You remain where there is respect, reciprocity, peace. And the moment this is violated, you withdraw. This attitude is a powerful statement. No one keeps you where your soul cannot breathe. And that's why they try to arrest you even more. Because they realize that you are like water. The more they squeeze, the more it escapes. You do not negotiate with the loss of its own essence. And in the world where so many people live in the function of others, their simple act of leaving is revolutionary. He shouts, "My well-being is not for sale." And this silent cry echoes in the ears of those who thought he could control you. You feel, and don't hide it. In times where many pretend to force with rigidity, you show your strength through vulnerability. It is strong enough to cry, to say that you do not know, to admit wounds, but it is also firm enough not to allow these moments to define who you are. This mixture of softness and firmness is what makes you unclassifiable, because people don't know where to fit you. Now you are shelter. Now it's storm. You welcome, but know how to cut. Listen with empathy, but also imposes its limits. This disconcerted combination, because we are not used to seeing strength and sensitivity in the same body. And you prove every day that it is possible to be immense and yet accessible, that there is no shame in feeling, in opening, as long as it does not cost one's own dignity. That's why people approach, but carefully. They feel that there is depth. May your kindness have roots, but also have thorns for those who try to abuse her. You are not easy to manipulate because your emotion is real, but not naive. Its vulnerability is choice, and this, more than any mask of strength, is the true armor. Those who try to break you find that what seemed fragile was actually indestructible. In a world that tries to label everything and everyone, you escape the categories. While most are excessive to be understood, or accepted, you walk in silence. This silence is not empty. It is full of intent, with truths, of choices that do not need justification. And this, for many, is disconcerting, because they cannot predict their movements. They cannot anticipate their reactions. It's like trying to understand a book that changes the pages with each reading. His privacy became mystery. They try to decipher you for their gestures, their eyes, their silences, but they always come to wrong conclusions. Not for lack of intelligence, but for excessive expectation. They are used to people who explain themselves too much, who are too much, who empty themselves to be accepted. With you, each piece revealed seems to hide a larger universe, and this active in people an almost obsessive curiosity. They want to understand you, because they can't stand the fact that they don't control you. What they don't know is that this silence is a choice. You know the value of what you keep. You understand that not everything needs to be said, and that there is undeniable power in maintaining certain untouched internal territories. Your presence speaks more than your mouth. Your absence, even more so. And that by itself is already a game that many lose without knowing that they started playing. You are not just living, you are walking with purpose. And that is meaning. People look at you and realize something different. They do not know how to explain, but they feel that there is a why behind their decision. Your steps are directed, your choices have weight, and even if you don't talk about it, your energy carries the brand of who knows where you are going. And this, for those who live the drift, is uncomfortable. Most live in reacting. The charges, opinions, the circumstances. You don't. You act. And this action starts from something larger than common goals or desires. It is as if something pulled you, as if there was a mission even if invisible. And this is perceived even without being announced. Your dedication, your constancy, your way of staying firm as everyone around you changed direction. All this reveals that you move by something above the surface. This purpose, even silent, creates impact. He inspires, yes, but also threatens, because it shows who notes you that it is possible to live with meaning, and that perhaps they are just existing. You become a reference, not because he wants to be an example, but because he lives as if every moment is part of a larger work. And it is, because your journey is not about recognition, it is about fulfillment, and that changes everything. You do not need to talk to provoke reflection. Its simple presence is already a mirror, not of those who only show the outside, but from those who reveal what many avoid facing, their own flaws, insecurities, omissions. And that is precisely why some feel uncomfortable close to you, because her authenticity highlights her absence in others. You are too true for the world of masks. This involuntary reflection you cause can have two effects. Some feel inspired, touched by their courage to be who it is. Others feel threatened, invaded by a sense of inadequacy, because you not only show what it is to be authentic, you show how much they got lost trying to be what they are not. And that, no matter how revealing, it hurts. And when the truth hurts, many prefer to attack the mirror than facing the reflection. But you don't do that badly. It's not trying to expose anyone. You are just living your truth. The problem is that your truth reveals the lie of others. And in this shock between what is and what is pretended, the discomfort is born. You don't ask to be an example, but you become. And this even silent influence is transformative. Because deep down, everyone wants to be like you, free to exist without fear. But few have the courage to start. You don't let yourself be easily shaken. It doesn't depend on the opinion of others to feel good. You don't need approval to move on, and that, it bothers you. In a world moved by likes, applause, and external validation, its emotional independence is seen as an affront, because she says, without saying, that you are enough. And this emotional self-sufficiency puts the emotional system of many people in check. People try to test you. They try to mess with their emotions, jealousy, awaken insecurities, but you remain centered, calm, in peace, not for coldness, but for maturity. You know who it is, and it does not allow someone else's feelings to define their movements. This solidity disconcerts, because it takes away from others the power to control you emotionally. You do not react. You choose how to act, and this choice comes from within. Therefore you become enigmatic, because no one can read you completely. They realize that they can't manipulate you, that your emotional games don't work with you, and this forces them to face the emptiness of their own needs. You, on the contrary, found in solitude a shelter, and that's why even alone you're never lonely. Its emotional strength is a fortress that does not repel, but filters, and only the real enter. You do not beg for attention. Don't scream for recognition, not gending effect, and that is precisely why people look at you with so much fascination, or so angry. You follow your way with your eyes turned inside. Its strength comes from the conviction of being on the right track, not the applause of unstable audiences. And this silent stance has a devastating power. It shows the world that it is possible to be whole without depending on others. This impact is not immediate. It accumulates. People try to understand why their safety, their peace. They try to reproduce unsuccessfully this same independence. Because it doesn't come from ready-made formulas. It comes from self, knowledge, falls, reconstructions, You have learned that living trying to please is to condemn yourself to the arrest of the expectation of others. And so, you chose to be free. And this freedom makes you dangerous for the system, because you prove that it is possible to live outside of it, without needing molds like social approval. You move like anyone who dances a song that no one else hears but is perfectly synchronized with something bigger. And in the end, while many fight to be noticed, you just live and become unforgettable for it.